Hello, my little rapscallions and scallywags. Welcome back to the channel. Or if you're here for the first time, welcome to Reddit Atheism, where we are doing AIMBOT. Am I merrily bankrupt? No, am I morally bankrupt or them? So this is basically, am I the a-hole from Reddit? We're going to be going through, and if you're unfamiliar with the series, we're trying to apply a secular humanist approach to some real world situations that we sort of find on the channel. None of them have been scripted. None of them have been seen ahead of time. This is just my reaction coming in for the first time, seeing these things and discussing them. But I do want to know what you think. I want to know what your thoughts are. It's actually Wednesday for me, and your experience may differ, but yeah, it's been a wild week for me, really. A strange week, a really weird week. It's sort of I start off with a pretty rough debate this week. So I don't know. It was rough. It was really rough. I don't want to do too many of those. Let me give you the tip right now. But also there was some stuff that went on that I kind of wanted to talk about. And to be honest with you, here's probably as good a place as any. The weirdest thing I've seen for quite some time is the UHC, the United Healthcare, sort of sort of hit that came out. It was a really, really weird one. Oh, spicy hummus. It was Nathan Thompson, yeah, on MDD. The live is on my channel if you'd rather watch it there. But yeah, it was you know what? I wish I'd held my temper more, to be honest with you. It was Nathan Thompson is such a horrible person. It was really rough. It was really rough. And I felt like I didn't do as well as I could have, or really, I wanted to do a better job, and it was rough. It was rough. It was really rough. Everybody said I did really well. I get that, but I don't think having a good outcome and doing your expectations of yourself are the same thing, essentially. I don't think so. Sorry, I just got to move my mic in so I can talk to you lovely people. Look at this. I got a microphone in front of me now. Hopefully that improves the sound. Hopefully I haven't gone completely silent like occasionally it feels like doing. Have I lost sound? Do I still hear you? No, I'm good. Good. Yeah, so this is the weird part about this this hit on the CEO of United Healthcare. It's so weird that I don't know. I don't know. It's so weird that it has come to somebody losing the plot over healthcare and literally taking out the CEO of a company. Okay, so number one, I feel like this has gotten way too much attention, and yeah, I'm guilty of that as well. I'm talking about it, sure, but I'm guilty of that as well. But I feel like it's gotten way more attention than somebody who we're talking about in Manhattan, like just somebody, some homeless person in Central Park. If this happened to them, nobody would care. Like no one would care. And it's like, yeah, it's the fact that it's a CEO, and CEOs don't get unalived on the street kind of thing. I feel like it kind of is a. Does anyone remember that scene from Dark Knight where he's like, oh, one mayor dies and everybody loses their mind? It's like, yeah, kind of is a bit like that. Sure. Yeah. Like, the fact that if this was somebody else, it wouldn't be such a big deal. Number two, I feel like it's this whole thing of, I feel like this guy that did it, what was his name? It was apparently a Maglione. Yeah, Mangione. He seems to be getting the most misunderstood villain award of 2024, or the most sympathetic villain award of 2024. And I kind of like, I never condone violence. I never condone violence, but at the same time, yeah, you kind of understand where he's coming from. You know what I mean? Like, apparently the CEO was under investigation for insider trading, and his company was under investigation for using AI to um, refuse healthcare to elderly people, kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, I disagree with what he did vehemently. I strongly condemn what he did, but it's kind of, I've never seen such a sort of sympathetic villain since Thanos, quite frankly. Like, it's awful what he's doing, but he does have a point, like this kind of sentiment. So there's not a lot of love for the guy who was taken out, to be honest with you, because yeah, Brian Thompson was his name, and this is never the way to go about it, but you can kind of understand where he's coming from. Now, I was sort of watching an Australian on this, and number one, this would never happen in Australia. Never happen. Like, this would never, ever, ever happen. Like, number one, we've got healthcare. Like, getting to the point where people are willing to um, take a hit out on a CEO of a healthcare company just wouldn't happen, because there's always the public system. There's Medicare to fall back onto. Our public system's called Medicare, and when you go into the hospital under Medicare, and I have been in the hospital under Medicare myself, you don't even get a bill. I actually had a ultrasound yesterday. Actually, I just had I'm getting old. I hate to break it to you. I'm getting old. So I had my kidneys, my bladder, and prostate checked with ultrasound, and it didn't cost me anything, nothing whatsoever. I didn't even see somebody as I went out. The doctor was just like, "Yeah, just exit the building on leaving." So I don't think it would get to that. I don't think it would get to somebody getting that angry, because there is health coverage for those that need it here. And number two, like, it's really weird, because I reading up on this thing. The gun that he was using was apparently 3D printed, which is kind of horrifying. But obviously he could get the bullets from somewhere, because apparently, you can just get hold of bullets. Apparently, I don't know how that works, but sure, it's sure. And the other thing was that he had apparently the silencer he was using was not in fact illegal. Like, it's not illegal to own a silencer. Like, what possible use could you have for a silencer? Like, I am so bewildered over this. I'm like, why is it that the silencer is no problem whatsoever? Well, or you had to register the silencer, but it's still a legal item in this area. Like, what are we talking about here? What are you going to use a silencer for that is not nefarious? Basically, I maybe I've got incorrect information on that, but yeah, I feel very like, I absolutely condemn what he's done, but at the same time, like, it's not that it's not that surprising, considering everything that apparently they had the highest rates of rejecting claims. It You can kind of understand where they were coming from. I I what can I say? Mm. And that's what I mean, Amber. It's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Oh, he pre-printed the sunset. Yeah, yeah, but Jedi, the fact that it's not automatically highly illegal to do so is just it blows me away. It absolutely blows me away. You know, I don't know. It's just something that would never happen in Australia. Like we had a guy lose the plot and sort of unalive somebody at a grocery store over East. We're still talking about it today. Like there was a cafe attack years and years ago, and that was this happens in Australia, and we are talking about it for years. In America, if that happens, it's just a footnote. The only reason this one's got so much attention, and I'm guilty of that, is because he's the CEO of a company. You know, it's yeah. Is considering this rich on rich crime. No, I think he's going to absolutely be bodied for this one. To be honest with you, I think they're going to throw the book at him because while they're ripping off the people, they can't have the CEOs of the companies, making all this money being taken out. But the lack of sympathy for the guy is actually pretty telling. And the news article I was reading says, it seems he has a big problem with corporate America, and it's like, yeah, well, who doesn't? Like, apart from corporate America, who in America doesn't have a problem with corporate America? And again, I want to stress, I really condemn what he's done. Firearms should be legal. I'm really sorry, Spicy. I absolutely disagree. I 100% disagree. Like that is a bad idea, a terrible idea. That is not great. On the other news, like it's really weird. Yeah, we've got well, let's get the first post up. I'm sorry, just that story is making me boggle my mind, because while I hate the idea of somebody using violence to promote their agenda or their thing, it really, like, the fact that somebody has taken that step really underlines the problems with the American system, and the fact that I went to get a ultrasound yesterday without going into debt really outlines how lucky we are. Yeah, I agree, Spicy. Violence is never the answer, but this guy is getting, this CEO is getting no sympathy, and I can't say that I blame people. I can't say, like, when you see your granny die because their healthcare claims been rejected, I can't fault you for being angry at the company, but the company and the person running it are two different things, and that's still a human being. But yeah. Make bullets illegal. Yeah, it's probably a good idea. I think that was a stand-up by Chris Rock or something. Like, we don't have US doesn't have a gun problem, it has a bullet problem. Like, if you make every bullet $10,000, then the crime rate will go way down. No, I totally agree. And that was a point of I mean, usually I'm not a huge fan of what was his name? The guy that did documentaries, Michael Moore. I'm not a huge fan of him. I thought that, like, he really went into the deep end, but he did Bowling for Columbines, where they picked up bullets at Target, and you're like, what the hell? YouTube censorship ruined a good joke. Oh, I'm sorry. Tax gunpowder. There you go. There you go. Anyway, let's get into it. I just wanted to mention that because that's some wild ass stuff that's going on. Like, seriously. But at the same time, like, there's been some sympathetic villains over the years, and this guy's definitely on there. To be honest with you, to me anyway. Stuff like the Joker, right? He's obviously horrible and, sort of a menace, and definitely did the wrong thing. But he's kind of got a point, like, if you have unstable people. Yep, I hear you, Ems. I hear you. Okay, so we're going to start off. But yeah, that's wild news. You guys in America, you're crazy. And plus, the president's talking about like pardoning all the people that tried to overthrow your country. What the hell is going on over there? Like seriously, it's sympathetic villains and absolutely loathsome heroes. It's topsy turvy world in America. Nothing makes sense. The good guys are bad guys. The bad guys are good guys. It's out of control. It's crazy. Like what is even going on? What is even going on? You know, I saw an interview with the president basically saying, yeah, he's going to pardon all of the people who tried to overthrow the country, and he thinks that the people that investigated that um, insurrection should be put in jail. And it's like, what the hell? But on the plus news, if you want something hopeful, the president of Syria has been overthrown. Assad, who was a totalitarian fascist dictator, has been overthrown, and the Syrian people now can get all of their people, whoever's left, the very small amount that's left, out of prison. So that's good. I mean, they're finding some horrible stuff as they go, but at least it's over. Yeah, I'm with you. I've never seen a gun. No, never seen. Oh well, no, that's not true. I've seen an old. My brother was given by my family, like by my parents, a old World War One service rifle. But its firing pin had been removed, kind of thing. It couldn't actually fire. So yeah. Piers Morgan. Yeah, he's an absolute idiot. Like seriously, I to be honest with you, anytime Piers Morgan says something, I will immediately assume that the reverse is probably the way to go, just because of what he says. But anyway, let's get into aimbot. Sorry to hold you up. I just had to get that off my chest. That there are places in the world, as strange as it sounds, where you can go and get an ultrasound and not pay anything for it because it's the government doing what the government should do. Yeah, these places exist, and I am so lucky to be living in one. Mm. It is sad, spicy hummus. It is absolutely sad. So if you're unaware, they've toppled the Syrian regime. Now, the organization that toppled them, I mean, yes, they're better than Assad, but they do have some ties to certain terrorist organizations. They're kind of working on breaking ties, but it's still a little. It's not perfect, I'll put it that way. But considering the sort of the shadow prisons and the black sites that they've unveiled that Assad used to imprison people in, it's horrible. But they've only found like 10% of the people that went missing, which is just insane. Yeah. Okay. Negotiation ashamed. Negotiation ashamed 61. Am I the ass? Oh, and Ember, member for 19 months. 19 months. That's incredible. Thank you so much, Ember. Luigi, I shot an evil CEO. Too much applause. Am I the asshole? Yeah. Yes, you are. You know what? It's kind of weird, isn't it? Because it's sort of like, well, everybody's bad here, right? Like, yeah, he did the wrong thing, but it's not like he was doing the right thing as well. It's so wild, right? Somebody's brutally takes out a hit on the a CEO, and you're like, well, he had a point. It's a wild feeling, and I never condone violence ever. It's a bad move, but man, that guy was a scumbag. Left-handed Jedi member for 11 months. Thank you so much, LHJ. I really appreciate it. That's awesome. And Yahooligan member for 14 months. I want to be Ember. Don't we all? Don't we all? Like seriously, I want to be Ember one day too. Absolutely. Yeah, so am I the asshole for refusing to babysit after my sister demanded I stop bringing my boyfriend to family events? What, why? Why? What's your sister's problem? Uh-oh. I don't like the sound of this, but, um, I, 20 male, have been dating my boyfriend, 22 male, for about a year. Oh, about a year. After a year, you can definitely say that it's a long-term relationship. I really, to have HRT in Canada. Yeah, I think we're talking about how kind and wonderful you are, not sort of, anything physical. Um, my sister Amanda has a 4-year-old Jack. But I think after a year, you're definitely in a long-term stable relationship, or at least a long-term relationship. I don't, if it'd been a month or something and she's like, oh, he's just your boyfriend, but a year, that's a significant amount of time, especially when you're 20. That's like a 20th of your life. Um, my sister Amanda, 28 female, has a 4-year-old Jack. After a family barbecue last month, Amanda pulled me aside and said, hey, just so you know, it might be better if you don't bring Ryan to the next few family gatherings. Why? I asked why, and she got all awkward, saying Jack's been asking questions about you and Ryan, and I don't think he's old enough to understand all that yet. What, but 4? I don't, what, you can't explain that some boys like boys at 4? I, is it just that you don't want to have this conversation with your 4-year-old? Is this just a conversation avoidance? I feel like what, um and Hill Hugger, thank you so much. Sometimes bad things happen to bad people. Yeah, they do. But, we never condone violence, because once we go down that route of solving problems with violence, other people will do it as well, for right or wrong. So we can't lean into that. It's kind of like the question, would you kill Hitler? Yeah, and it's a difficult question, sure. I get that. But the thing is that, is doing this actually going to lead to the outcome that you want? I don't think it's going to. Do you think this is going to stop corporate America? Of course it's not. Of course it's not. Like, this will not get you to the outcome that you want. All it's going to do is cause a whole load of grief and suffering for the person's family. And then they'll replace them with another CEO, up security, and then continue to do what they're doing. This will change nothing. Nothing. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to feel bad for that person, but really, it's not going to do anything, Andrew. Mm. Well, I mean, hey, I could be wrong. If in 12 months, it's suddenly a better world with healthcare companies not ripping off people, then I'm happy to concede that I am wrong. Happy to concede that I'm wrong, Andrew. Absolutely. But you can absolutely understand where he's coming from. Yeah. I asked her why, and she got all awkward, saying Jack's been. Yeah, so this is like, it's just confusing for him, or it's awkward for you. It's awkward for you. You know how kids are. Well, you can explain that to a child. That's kind of your job as a parent. I was mad, but kept it together and said, if Ryan isn't welcome, maybe I just won't come either. He sighed and said I was being dramatic. What the hell? No, you're really not. Like, can we just think for a second, if he had a girlfriend and, um, sort of, um, if you have a girlfriend and you're basically like, yeah, I don't think she should come, like a girlfriend of a year, and I don't think she should come for the family gatherings because I don't want to explain why you're together. Like, seriously, how are you supposed to not be offended by that? Seriously. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, Robin. Yeah, he had family, exactly, and it's, they didn't do anything wrong. It's really hard to, um, it's really hard to sort of, um, yeah, it's very hard to sort of, um, stand up for your principles when the thing is, this CEO is apparently responsible for the deaths of a lot of people. So if things change, I might change my position. At the moment, I think that no, it's not going to. It's sort of like Unabomber stuff. Like, it's not going to accomplish anything. All it's going to do is cause grief and horrendous agony for people that didn't do anything. So, you know, yeah. But like, at the same time, we can say, hey, he did have a point. You know what I mean? Like, there's something wrong with the way that healthcare is in America. There's something horrendously wrong. You know, yeah, there's something horrendously wrong there. But I never endorse political violence. It will accomplish very little, very little. Um, Last week, Amanda called me panicked because her babysitter cancelled. I told her I couldn't because Ryan and I already had plans. She begged, saying she was desperate, and I finally snapped. Why do you want me babysitting Jack? What if I accidentally expose him to my terrifying gay lifestyle? Ah, the global homo. God forbid he sees me and Ryan together. What? Yeah, that's a point. Like, if you don't want them for, like, this is the thing. You won't accept who he is until it's convenient for you. Yeah. Amanda blew up. She accused me of using Jack to make a point and said, "This isn't about Ryan. It's about you being spiteful. You're punishing Jack because you're mad at me." See, that's really unfair. That's really unfair. Like, because he's basically saying, well, I'm not allowed to go to this stuff. I'm not allowed to be who I am at this stuff. I'm being made to not um be able to choose who I love and go to family gatherings. I, Family barbecue. I mean, to be honest with you, screw Amanda. She told my parents, and that's when the real drama started. My mum called and said I was being selfish for letting a small disagreement. Okay, this is not a small disagreement. This is, hey, your significant other is not acceptable to us because we can't go through a conversation with our child. Like, it's time to grow up, accept that gay people are in the world, and just say to your child, hey, some boys like girls, some boys like boys. And that's okay. That's okay. I told her it wasn't small, correct, it's not, and reminded her of Amanda's comment about confusing Jack. Mum brushed it off, saying she's just doing what's best for her child. No, she's not, because at some point, that child is going to have to go out there and experience that there are gay people running around being gay. What? I said, what about what's best for me? Why do I have to hide part of my life to make her comfortable? My dad sided with me. Okay, I'm on dad's side. Come on, dad, lay it down. He said Amanda was being narrow minded and told her kids aren't confused by love. They're confused by people acting like it's something to hide. Damn right. I like this guy. What a guy. I'm right on board. The kids aren't confused by love. Wow. Wow. Like, you can explain to your child, hey, it's okay. Like, but they don't want to explain to their children it's okay. They wanted to explain to their children that it's shameful and should be hidden. And that sucks. Amanda then put the drama into the fam group chat. My uncle said it's not homophobic to want to protect your kid from topics they are not ready for. Like what? Like what? Like, here's the thing. If he was with a girl and the kids started asking questions, they would be fine with it. That's the whole point. The whole point is you're not fine with it because it's a guy with a guy. Like, don't like pretend otherwise. Don't pretend like, oh, we would say exactly the same if you were in a year-long relationship with a girl. Come on now. This is ridiculous. Why push it? This set off my cousin. She said, if Jack's old enough to understand that Amanda and Mike are married, he's old enough to understand that Uncle, me, has a boyfriend. She accused Amanda of being a hypocrite and called out my uncle too, saying, let's not make this about your own outdated beliefs. She also called Amanda a stuck-up bitch. There you go. Well, you know, this is not going to make things better. And my uncle called my cousin a drama queen. My aunt chimed in on the family chat saying, I don't agree with my lifestyle, but we still should support one another. My grandmother replied, support doesn't mean tolerating disrespect. I'm not sure who that's to. I don't agree with your lifestyle, but we should still support one another. Support doesn't mean... Sounds like the grandmother's even standing up for this guy. Wow, this is absolutely homophobic. I don't get it. I don't get it. Like, you're fine with saying, hey, boys and girls, when they love each other, they spend a lot of time together and they're part of the family. Okay, that the 4-year-old will understand that. And how much of a leap it is to say, hey, sometimes boys and boys love each other, or girls and girls love each other. How much of a leap is that? How much of a leap? Like, you're talking about, like, you don't want your child to know that gay is out there. That's basically it. I hate to break it to you, they're gonna find out sooner or later. They're not stupid. I don't support your lifestyle. Amanda's husband Mike texted me saying, look, I don't have an issue with you or Ryan, but this is getting out of hand. Amanda's just trying to avoid awkward questions from Jack, not insult you. It's the fact that they're trying to avoid awkward questions from Jack. Like, that's the whole point. They're trying to avoid awkward questions because they don't think that a child should know that gay people exist. It's already insulting. Would she say the same thing if I was dating a woman? He left me on scene. Exactly. And that is the crux of the matter. If it was a woman, would they say the same thing? No. And I don't think this guy's being an asshole. I mean, they probably could have done it a bit better, but I get it. Like, if the love of your life is not being accepted at the family gathering, if my wife wasn't accepted at the family gathering, I wouldn't be going either. I would not be going either. Absolutely. I would be saying, nope. If she's not welcome, I'm not welcome. Who am I to say that what's this person's name? What's this? I'm sorry. Who am I to say how the poster and Ryan feels about it? Why am I in any position to say, hey, I feel love for my significant other? You don't feel the same. Was the poster right to refuse to babysit? And I guess you know what? For a start, here's for a start. I wouldn't be saying, hey, if they're not welcome, I'm not going to come. I would be saying to this horrendous Amanda, it's his sister, right? That you don't get to choose who comes to the family gatherings. That Ryan, poor Ryan, like, could you imagine what he's going through? Like, he's got a boyfriend whose family is basically saying, hey, don't come to our family gathering because of this 4-year-old. Like, seriously, he probably feels like crap. like absolute crap. And then a fight's breaking out. Oh, I can only imagine what that poor guy's going through, like seriously. So I would probably be saying, hey, Amanda, you don't get to choose who comes to a party and who doesn't. Like, you know, I will talk to your 4-year-old if they've got questions, but you don't want that. Like, she doesn't want that. She wants the gay not to exist. And the gay isn't going anywhere. I hate to break it to you, but the gay is going nowhere. Like, seriously, this is homophobia. She is literally scared of the gay. Ugh. All right, let's see what the Redditors have to say. Let's see if they've got anything, words of wisdom. Not the ourself. Jack is old enough to understand the man and woman being together. He's old enough to understand a man and man being together. Absolutely. I'm also gay, and I would have said the same thing to my sister. It's disappointed this has divided your family. It really brings out their true colors. I think you should go to little or no contact with your sister. Well, let's ignore the Redditors wanting to cut off contact. But the whole point is, like, if you want to know whether this is wrong, just look at it through the lens of how would you react? Like, could we have some empathy? How would you react if it is you and your significant other, whether that's a guy or a girl or anybody, right? You know, like, just put yourself in the same situation. Okay, you have a girl that you've been together with for a year, or you're a girl and you've got a guy and you've been together with them for a year. How would you feel if your sibling comes forward and says, hey, could you not bring them to our family gatherings because I don't want to have to explain your year-long relationship to my 4-year-old? I would be like, no, absolutely not. They're going to be there. That's the person I love. And I'm part of the family. They're part of the family. Like, what? Like, I haven't spoken with sister in days. Some of these comments saying she's using Jack as a way to hide her homophobia. Yeah, maybe not. Like, some parents, like, can't talk to their kids about stuff. I get that, and they're difficult conversations. But this one isn't even that difficult. It's not even about sex. It's about relationships, right? Like, you don't have to have the talk with them kind of thing. All you have to do is sort of say, hey, you know how girls and boys, if they love each other, they're together and they live together and things, like your dad and me, sometimes a boy and a boy will do the same thing, or a girl and a girl. Not the arsehole, but those family group chats sound hella interesting, like a soap opera. Well, yeah, Reddit just did vicarious, you know. I'm shocked at the level of pathology it takes for your sister to take your personal disagreement, expand it to your parent, then take it public in a broader setting with the large family group chat. Her husband is reaching out to tell you that things are out of hand when this is all his wife's doing, is really icing on the dysfunction cake. I kind of agree, yeah. Jen, your mother are absolutely wrong. Your father is absolutely correct. The 4-year-old will be the most empathetic, the least judgmental, and the least confused about two people spending time together and showing they care for one another. Yeah, and kids and children don't get born with bigotry and things like that. They have to be taught it. They have to be taught it. And this is the kind of thing that teaches them bigotry. She undermines a perfectly valid relationship and sort of suggests that they shouldn't be together. This is how bigotry starts and homophobia starts. Because if she made no big deal about it and just explained it, it wouldn't be a problem. Kids aren't born with this innate of, oh, well, that's wrong. No, they're taught it by their parents. That's what happens. Your sister is the one more likely to create confusion and sow seeds of future homophobic judgment with her children for how she is behaving. And please, since she has made this a public discussion in your family, show her the results of that here. She needs to understand that her children are much more likely to be damaged by decisions and parenting or lack thereof than anything you could possibly do. Her behavior is appalling and so incredibly self-serving when she suddenly forgets her concern about your lifestyle when she needs a babysitter. And then to levy or attempt to levy feelings of guilt within you when you point out her clear hypocrisy is really just laughable if it was not sad. Since Since this has become a huge family ordeal, I think a well-rounded letter, email, chat pointing out all these things in order. But the last sentence should read, this situation has been created and amplified by my sister. It is up to her to rectify it through apologizing for her homophobic behavior and rethinking her dynamic boundaries seem to be changed when she is in a bind with babysitting. Yeah, I think that sometimes with these things, the vulnerable thing is usually the best. I think that sort of saying, hey, I love this person, they're my significant other, like appeal to people's empathy. But yeah, what a horrible situation. And this guy, I feel like he's done nothing. Nothing. What awkward questions they talk about. It's really easy to explain to a 4-year-old that grown adults can be a relationship. Yeah, they're in kindergarten. They understand about marriages, whether it's a man and a woman, 2 men or 2 women. I know it's easy because I did that for my own child when he was little. Jack can totally handle the relationship with Ryan. It's the adults in your family who cannot. You're absolutely right to object and not to babysit if this is the attitude they were going to give you about it. Absolutely. I agree. I totally agree. Totally agree. Totally agree. All right, let's see what the wonderful people, what you wonderful people have to say. Amber says, I'd explain what people date before marriage. I used to call it courtship, Jennifer. Well, it's Amanda, but yeah, absolutely. No, I get you. It's sort of like, well, how come you can explain a straight relationship, but you can't explain a gay relation? They're not that different. They're not that different. I know you think it's this weird and crazy. It's really not. It's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same feelings and stuff. I don't get it. I don't understand. Seriously. Oh, hello, Eric. Good to see you. Hi, Andrew. Hi, Robin. Yeah, I didn't go through say hello to people. Hill Hugger, I said, yeah. Yeah, Hooligan, welcome. Your Hooligan just hit 200 people. I want to see a celebration at some point. 250 is a good number. 200's even better. Just saying. Just saying. Spicy hummus. Right. Love is love. Yeah, Andrew, absolutely. Like, this whole thing of, oh, but it's not real love. Who are you to say that? Like, are you that person? Do you understand what they feel? Of course not. You cannot possibly. Spicy Hummer said, I used to use the gay slur F word until my brother came out. I quickly changed my vocabulary and support him all the way. I'd rather love my family for who they are than push them away. Absolutely, Spicy Hummus. And the thing is, even though, you just found out about your brother being gay, it didn't change who he was. And it's so trivial. What sort of gender of person we love is so trivial to who you are. Whether you're a good person, whether you help people, whether you love people, whether you are good for your community, that what has who you love got to do with any of that? The gender of who you love is so trivial to the human experience. I really want to underline that. Aunt Jar says, Dad for the win. Absolutely. I think that Dad's an awesome dude. Yep, Dad's a legend. Absolutely, Spicy Hummus. Completely agree. I love that name, but I do not like Spicy Hummus. Hummus, I really do like, I like something subtle like lemon or something like that, bit of lemon juice in my hummus. I do like hummus, though. I'm saying hummus way too much. My one buddy, Josh, is gay and he uses slurs all the time, but he uses them in a comical way. He's a good-hearted guy. Yeah, Andrew, I've met people like that. They're gay and they use these slur words to reclaim them, and that's a totally different thing than using them as a pejorative. Phantom says it's homophobic. I hadn't noticed. Yeah, it is homophobic. Like, she is clearly scared of the gayness. So what you've got to understand about homophobia, right, is that think about what I often say. If you're here for the first time, I often talk about anger a lot, and why we get angry, why we get frustrated, and things like that. Because I've done a lot of work on some very significant anger problems as that I had when I was younger. And the one thing that I absolutely believe is that anger isn't a real emotion. It's not. It's sort of a reaction to a different emotion, and that emotion is fear, right? So when you see somebody, fear or sometimes pain, it can be pain, like the pain of losing somebody, but usually it's fear of something in the future, something, it's a fight, flight, freeze, or fawn reaction. And this one happens to be the fight instead of the flight or the freeze or the fawn. The anger is a way of generating energy so you can fight off whatever threat that happens to be. But that is so integral to the fear response that we have. So when you see somebody angry at the gay, they are in fact actually afraid. It is the fear response, as is almost all anger and frustration is always fear. Now, that doesn't mean they're afraid of this person in particular. It doesn't mean they're afraid of gay people in particular. It may be fear of something else, some other thing associated with that. Humans are complex, and just because we show aggression towards something, it doesn't mean that's the thing that we're afraid of. What's a good example of that? Okay, so you're working customer service. You are frustrated with a customer. It's rarely them that you're actually angry at or afraid of. Like, you're not afraid of that customer. You might be afraid that you know the boss is going to make you work overtime, kind of thing. Like, it can be a completely different thing that you're afraid of, but the fight or flight, the fight comes out towards somebody that's completely unrelated with it. That's basically what happens. The gay is going forward, just not straightforward. Thank you, Ember. That is actually clever. Just not straightforward. You know what? I don't like. I've talked with a lot of people that are gay, and you know, all these they basically have the same things going on in their life as us. And there's no them here. Like, people are, oh, the gays, they. It's no they here. They're us. They're just people. Like, they worry about being stood up. They worry about their relationship. They worry about bills and doing work. And like, there's not that much difference. Like, it's weird that these people get in their heads that the gay culture is just to do all of these things. Yeah, there's some people out there that do that. And there's some people that have very ordinary, stable relationships. There's all kinds of people. Like, seriously, don't start to judge by what your stereotypes are. Phantom says, I'd be like, yep, they won't be there this year. See you next year. Maybe. Okay. Okay. Aunt Jess says, kids not going to ask questions about the uncle's bunghole. Get over it. Yeah. Yeah, the 4-year-old isn't understanding, and there's no reason you have to explain it to them. Andrew says, absolutely correct, Mark. My dad's a racist ass, and when I was young, I got it in my head to dislike Native Americans and Mexicans, but quickly as I learned more history, I got to know others, I changed. Yeah. And it sort of is that, you don't question your parents as a young person, because that's sort of the way that we've been able to survive as a species. You take what they say as given. So don't blame yourself too much for that, Andrew. I'll admit now I'm a little bigoted to white people. How do I feel about white people? How do I feel about my own race? How do I feel about myself? I think that we have been extraordinarily horrible in the past to other races, and that's got to be taken into consideration. I don't blame white people for that, but we're responsible for a lot, and that's a big deal. I don't, I white people are just people, for sure, but we've got to be sensitive of the lens that other people and other races will see us as being colonizers and people that have done a lot of harm. It's like when British people start talking, I've got to be sensitive to what Indian people think of British people because I would like to get a curry at some point in the future. Like you have to be cognizant of a cultural memory that has come up while doing better than your ancestors did, because that cultural memory is yeah. Mm. Colonialism has done an incredible harm to all sides, to everybody in this situation, including white people. Right? The privilege and the self-aggrandizement that some white people have is absolutely terrible. We invented the this and we invented the that. Oh, come on, get over yourself, seriously. Yeah. Well, mostly white Americans. Look, I got to admit, I am a little bigoted to Americans. Is it fine to say you're bigoted towards a culture? You know what? I won't say that I'm bigoted towards Americans. I think that there's some things about America I absolutely adore. There's some things I absolutely hate. And that's the same for most cultures out there. Like there's some things about Australia that I absolutely adore. There's some things I absolutely hate. Matt, it's all good, Mark. You have the show. I'm sure we all understand and feel welcome here. Okay. I'm not sure what that's in reference to, but that's okay. You're 200 on your gaming channel, 14 on Skeptic Spin. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, a 500. Really? Awesome. Awesome. Oh, you're being sarcastic? Yeah, I sometimes miss that, Phantom. I'm sorry. That's okay. What you got to say? I recently discovered a brand makes French onion hummus. Oh, I like French onion. That's really good. That's really good. Spicy Hummus says, I couldn't hate someone over their sexual preference. You're right, Mark. It's the most petty BS, and their preference shouldn't matter. Yeah. Yeah, let's not judge people for who they love. Come on now. That's why my British side kicked them out. Aussies didn't get satire. Lol, friendly shots fired. Look, Australians absolutely understand satire. Like, seriously, if you've seen some of the antics that Australians have gotten up to, you would never say that. You would never say that. No, we're not doom scrolling. We're doing consensual, solicited moral evaluations. Okay, it's not doom scrolling. It's moral evaluations. But thank you. Thank you. Ethnicity. There is only one of the human race. Except me, I'm half elf. Nice. Nice. Rembrandt says, I don't blame people for things that happened before they were born. Okay. So I'm not saying blame. All right. So we've got to understand and really get this into your head, the difference between blame and responsibility. So, okay. So my background has been corporate in nature, mostly internet services and things like that, communications companies. But you've got to understand what it means to be blamed versus what it means to be responsible for something. So, like, imagine you're working, I used to work tech support among other things. Let's say you're doing tech support. Someone says, hey, I got a modem and it is busted. My router, you sent it out to me already broken. And I had a big meeting and now I'm probably going to get fired, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like we get it, right? So something's gone horribly wrong with the company. You sent out a busted piece of equipment and their life is made significantly more difficult because of it. I get it. It's a horrible situation. I am not to blame for that, right? On them contacting me and saying, hey, this happened, I'm not to blame. I mean, how could I be? They came out, you probably happened in the factory. Who knows? Like, I'm not I didn't touch that thing. It didn't get sent. I didn't do anything. I'm not to blame. But at that point, I am responsible, right? If they contact the company and you work for the company, you are responsible for fixing that problems. And that's where we've got to separate the two. White people are not to blame for what happened. They weren't even alive. Nobody's blaming them. But we are all responsible for making the world a better place and trying to mend the horrendous rift that has been there. And part of that mending is accepting responsibility for what's happened, right? It's not blame, it's responsibility. Because the people that came out on top during colonialism, i.e. generally white people, are responsible for fixing the problem. But everybody is. People who are black are responsible for fixing the problem as well. We're all responsible for making society better. But I'm not blaming people. It happened ages ago. So never once did I say white people are to blame. Oh my God, speaking of which, arsehole Elon is threatening to buy D&D. Damn. Yeah, that sucks. Oh boy. Pathfinder. Yeah. Okay. So D&D is owned by, is it Wizards of the Coast that owns D&D? Why? Like, I mean, that guy does not have the time to play D&D. Is he just doing it to hurt geeks, basically? Is he just being an ass? You can still criticize the culture and circumstances that gave rise to it. Absolutely. Absolutely you can. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I'm Aboriginal. Be proud of your good past. Don't be proud of your bad past. Our ancestors have played a part in some people being behind and dealt a shit hand. Also helped gives rights to all. Correct. Yes, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. And I want to say sorry that ever happened to the First Nations. It was an atrocity, and we're very cognizant of it. I do not celebrate Australia Day. Most people don't know what that is. That is not a celebration of the founding of Australia. That happened in January. That is a celebration of the first fleet landing on the coast, and it is a travesty that we celebrate the colonization of Australia. A travesty. Recently, I got very upset. I saw our more conservative leader, who, quite frankly, I think is a scumbag and a bald emu. He who should not be named Peter Dutton, he basically said that he won't stand in front of, if he becomes Prime Minister, he won't stand in front of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander flags. And quite frankly, that's disgusting. That's disgusting to me. Not only because the First Nations deserve representation within our country. The second reason is because the Aboriginal flags look so much better than our one. Like, seriously, it looks incredible. Has everyone ever seen the Aboriginal flag? It's frigging awesome. Hold a sec. I'm just going to find an image for you. Find a frigging image for you. Yeah, sure. So this is the Aboriginal flag, right? This is it, and it represents the red soil of Australia, like the real desert soil. The sort of nut. I don't want to open Artie emails. I'm sorry. What did I do? Not my interest. Sorry. Yeah, and the sort of dark sky and the sun setting, like, just gorgeous. It's so much better than the British, the British one in the corner and the star. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the Southern Cross, but the Aboriginal flag, I don't know. It says Australia to me, that red soil, the dark sky and the yellow sun. It just says Australia all over it. Like, seriously, there's something about it. It's great. It's fantastic. So I don't know why thingo. Yeah, Wizards of the Coast, they own Magic. Yeah. I mean, also Transformers, and we'll have the Cybertruck Transformer. Yeah, that's going to be real popular. Yeah, it just transforms and talks in a South African accent, going, "Did you know the universe may not be real?" Come on. I thought Disney got their stank fingers on Transformers. Yeah, it probably wouldn't. I thought Disney got their stank fingers on everything, Archer, quite frankly. Pete Dutton is a racist prick. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I hope we can all move forward and celebrate the good in our cultures. We're all part of the human race. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I hope so too. We've got problems, and sort of attacking each other is not going to fix them. It's actually a perfectly round circle. Yeah, that's sort of blowing in the wind, but yeah, you get the idea. Yeah. Basically expanding inclusiveness so people can play Drizzed. Oh, okay, got you. I'd happily adopt as our national flag. We've probably already stolen enough. Yeah, true, Hillhugger. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I get you. Look, if the Aboriginal people wanted to like have that flag as our national flag, I wouldn't be opposed, quite frankly. I think it looks incredible. You know, this whole people put too much significance in flags kind of thing. They're like, you know, we can't give up it's just a picture. It's the ideas that the flag represents that's the good part, you know, like, oh, let's ban flag burning kind of thing. It's like, dude, the flag means nothing. It's the ideas that the flag represents that's the important part. Like, don't get hung up on the flag. Like, seriously, it's the ideas that we need to preserve, not the freaking flag. But it's nice that when we have a coming together, that we have a flag for the First Nations, because you want to preserve the values that they have, and there's some good values in there. This whole idea that we've got to do things exactly the same because that's what our ancestors did, and you know, jingoism and patriotism, I don't get into it. I really don't. Anyway, that's what you guys thought. How did the poll go, by the way? How did my little questionnaire go? Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, they did nothing wrong, quite frankly. I honestly, yeah, this kind of made me a little bit mad, to be honest with you. It's like, come on now, who cares? Like, really, you're going to break up your family over someone being gay? Come on, grow up, seriously. 3.5 was probably the last I played Phantom. It was a while ago. I used to be a dungeon master. I feel like I don't have the patience to write campaigns anymore. I feel like I don't have the time nor the patience, kind of thing. You know, they're just, being a DM's a lot harder. It's a lot easier if you have a ready-made adventure, but it's a lot harder than people think. It really is. Distinct policy 2434. That's a very weird avatar, but sure, why not? Am I the arsehole for telling my cousin that it's not my fault she bought her degree? Who's your cousin, Kent Hovind? That's a joke for all you Kent haters out there. DM is a full-time job. Yeah, absolutely, Andrew. I get what you mean, especially if you're writing your own. I used to love writing my own adventures, like doing the maps and, you know, the little bits and pieces on them. But I haven't, you know, that was so long ago. Okay. You know, I kind of think maybe if she actually bought her degree, that's a really weird question. I'm 18-year-old non-binary, closeted, and I live with my parents, my father who is 68 and my mother who is 80. Wow, that's really old parents for your age. Holy crap. Your father conceived you when he was 50? Am I mathing that right? What a guy. And your mother was 42? Wow, that's actually really old to have a child. Wow. Is that just me? Is that like, don't get me wrong, I'm happy for them. That's way to go, dad, but wow, that's really old to have a child. That's fine. Way to go, mum. Anthony Quinfard in his 70s? What the hell? Okay. Some people are just built that way, I guess. We are close to my father's family because they live closer to us than my mother's relatives. My father has a brother, 72 male. Okay, older brother, married to my aunt, 70 female. Okay, older brother. They have a daughter, my cousin, 40. I can't stand my cousin because she thinks she is better than everyone else and has a degree in psychology. Okay. In psychology, we would call that mind reading a bit, but sure, you believe that she's better than, or she thinks she's better than you. I always am doubtful about people when they say you think this. Generally, they're saying it appears you think that, or I think that you think that. You know, I think that perhaps, like, because we do a lot of that, right? We always do a lot of that. We go, oh, well, that person thinks I'm crap, or that person thinks I'm this. And it is something called mind reading. We don't actually know that's what they're thinking. And sometimes it is accurate. Sometimes you can be right. But a lot of the time, you don't know what others are thinking. And you kind of just have to accept that. But that's okay. I mean, I guess that she thinks that. We can keep that in mind. One day we're at my aunt's house for my niece's birthday, 6 female. My step brother's daughter, 48 male. Okay. Wow, these people have kids when they're older. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. 48 male. At some point, my cousin and I started talking, and she said that she can't stand all these people are diagnosed with dyslexia because, in her opinion, it's just an excuse for stupid people who don't try hard enough, and that she knows this because she has a degree in psychology. So this is what's called the Jordan Peterson School of Psychology, where you denigrate people with problems because you are an angry person. Like, this is the thing. Jordan Peterson does this kind of thing. I've seen Jordan Peterson absolutely rail on his patients, like just tell these stories about them just being so repugnant and callous towards them. I kind of think I know why he went into teaching, because I would hate to have that man as a counselor of some sort, or a therapist of some sort. Like, because he is just, oh, this person, and I told them just to get out of bed and stop this. It's just, wow, you are an ass, like, seriously. So yeah, I get that. She can't stand, like, so dyslexia, I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but I know that in psychology, they're more looking at things in spectrums than black and white now. They're sort of just saying, instead of people being dyslexic, everyone's kind of dyslexic in a certain way, right? So everybody's on this spectrum, and mostly we can all be a little dyslexic. Doesn't affect things. When we say someone's diagnosed with a disorder like dyslexia, is when it actually affects their life to a significant degree. So when it actually causes problems in their life. So everybody's a little bit autistic. Everybody's a little bit paranoid. Everybody's a little bit X, Y, and Z. It's just when it causes, like, everyone's a little bit OCD, right? We all exhibit these traits. It's when it causes some kind of problem in your life that causes your life to be disrupted. That's when we say, hey, that person is diagnosed with X. I looked at her and told her I'm severely dyslexic, dysgraphic, and dyscalculic, and that I have a really hard time reading and writing. She laughed and told me that I was just stupid. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that is just rude. I decided to ignore her comments and went to entertain my niece. When it was time for presents, my cousin gave my niece a book and told her to ask me to read it out loud. Oh, that is awful. Wow. Wow. Yeah, Rembrandt, there's certain things such as spell checkers that exist. Spell checkers exist. I don't know why other people don't use them, but dyslexic people will a lot. And just because it's difficult doesn't mean you can't do it, right? I'm diagnosed ASD, autism spectrum disorder, and things are hard for me. Some things are hard for me, but I can still do them. Socializing is hard for me. I can still do it. Maybe not well, but I can do it. Of course, my niece did. I panicked because I have a hard time reading, let alone reading out loud. Luckily, my mother noticed and told my niece that she would read it to her because she loves to read. After my niece moved in with my mother, I confronted my cousin and asked, "What's your problem?" She told me that I needed to practice and stop pretending. Oof. At that point, I got angry and told her that it wasn't my fault she had brought her degree in and therefore didn't really. She had bought her degree in psychology, bought her degree in, and therefore didn't know what dyslexia was. After this exchange, both she and I went out as so as to not ruin the party, but she started insulting me for all my choices, from my appearance to my tattoos, and even said I wasn't feminine enough. What the fuck does that mean? Wow. Okay, that's. I remained calm since I'm used to her insults by now and went back inside to play Lego with my niece. However, today I received a text from my aunt accusing me of being a bitch for insinuating that my cousin's degree was fake. Even though my parents told me I did the right thing, I'm not sure if I did it right, so am I the asshole. Hello, everyone. I want to thank you all for the nice comments you left. I want to specify one thing. My cousin has a degree in psychology, but luckily she works as a secretary in a company. Then I decided to restrict contact with my aunt and cousin. I don't want to cut off contact with them to keep peace in the family, but I will limit contact with them a lot. Yeah. So, I don't. So, I think this could have been handled a lot better by the OP, sort of saying, "Hey, I realize you have a degree, but it's not appropriate to use that degree to psychoanalyze your family." And that is a problem that psychologists often do have. And I'm speaking from personal experience because my mother had a psychology degree, was a very good psychologist, highly intelligent, and um, she would psychoanalyze, and it was a problem because you can't psychoanalyze somebody you have a relationship with. It's not frigging possible. The whole idea of a psychologist is to be as neutral as possible, to not know the person, not judge the person, and you can't with family. It's your family. You're going to have an emotional connection to you, and that will bias you. It automatically will bias you. So if there's one thing that good psychologists do is that they don't analyze their family, or at least they try to. Everybody's human, but they try to. They try not to do that because there's no way to say, "Hey, I'm just this person's psychotherapist. I'm not judging them. I'm not emotionally connected to them. I can just objectively, or close to objectively as possible, sort of analyze their issues, their problems." And plus, like, but it sounds like she has a degree and she's willing to use it. I don't think she's a bitch, though. I don't think she's the one to blame. Sort of that kind of comment, sort of laugh and telling you are stupid for having dyslexia is so that is so wrong. Like, that is so wrong. I can't express how wrong it is. Yeah, no, that's horrible. Was the poster right for dissing? What is she? She's your cousin? 40, yeah. Her cousin's degree. Look, and here's the thing: C's get degrees, but not everybody that has a degree is an expert in the field. I get that. I get that. And the fact that Jordan Peterson has a psychology degree is just, it's wild. It's absolutely wild. Like, he understands certain things well, but the level of callousness he has towards, well, everybody, including his own patients, is really bad. Is really, really bad. Hey, Big Bad Mama, good to see you. Good to see you, Mama. Let's see what Reddit's got to say. I've got a funny feeling Reddit won't like psychiatrists or psychologists to begin with. So, yeah. I wouldn't like that. I would be sort of, if you're going to if you're going to tell me about any disorder that I may or may not have, I would want them to bring it up with my psychologist, my actual psychologist or therapist or whatever. They can go and talk to them, explain why they know better. Not the answer. I was a holder of a psychology degree. I can confirm that we're taught in details about various learning disabilities and neurological differences such as dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia. I wonder if she's ever heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is a noted psychological theory that states that people who have a small amount about a topic tend to grossly overestimate their actual knowledge, which actual experts believe they always have more to learn. Yeah. So Dunning-Kruger is a really fascinating syndrome. It's basically, it is the phenomena where the less you know about a topic, the more you think you know. There's sort of, you've got to understand that when you're doing a degree, for instance, at third year, say, you think you know a ton about the topic, and you don't. It's only when you get to like masters or post grad stuff you realize just how little you know. Now you can overcome that. You can sort of keep a check on what you know, but yeah. Not the arsehole. This 40-year-old old woman is one, ignorant, two, picking on you, an 18-year-old like a schoolyard bully. She is due a refund from that degree, whatever. She paid too much. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just that kind of callousness towards somebody with a disorder and picking out exactly the perfect thing to exacerbate their disorder is really, really, really irresponsible. It would be like somebody that has a phobia of water and then pushing them in the water, like hydrophobia, for instance. It's not cool. That is not cool. That can cause trauma. And she might say, oh, what kind of trauma can you get reading a book out? It's not just reading the book out. It is that inability to read in front of people. It can cause significant trauma. She's an ass. If she doesn't believe in dyslexia while claiming a degree in psychology, her degree isn't worth used as toilet paper. I'm going with not the arsehole because I would have questioned her degree too. Her psychology degree doesn't mean shit when she clearly has no knowledge about learning disabilities at all. Yeah. Yep. Not the arsehole. I'd like to high-five you for giving a sick burn and retaining your cool. She sounds terrible. For what it's worth, psych degrees are notorious for giving a false sense of understanding how people think. I've never known someone who took one to come at it with a more knowledgeable than thou attitude. Sounds to me like she's using whatever her degree said, which undoubtedly was not denying concepts like dyslexia in the early 2000s, to validate her only shitty worldview and then leveraging authority her degree lends her to willpower that worldview like a weapon. You're absolutely right to call her out on it. I'm glad your parents have your back on this. Yeah. None of this is true. I've read this one before. Pretty sure it was originally posted a year ago. Oh. Well, that may not be real. Yeah. I see what you think. Do you think it's real? I don't know. Sometimes people post stuff that isn't real, I guess. I've heard that, but sometimes people like to troll people and say, "Hey, this isn't real," when it is. So it's very hard to tell. I think the OP handled about best one can. Yeah. JP's degree was revoked, I'm pretty sure. Really? Is that true? No, um his license was revoked. Not his degree. Like that's totally different. So yeah, and yeah, I agree with revoking his license. If he's going to talk about his patience with that kind of um sort of callousness and the horrible dismissal he's doing, then I kind of agree, to be honest with you. But that's a totally different thing than the degree. Like the degree, I don't think you can revoke that kind of thing. Like it's not a thing. Um, so yeah, it's his license to practice as a psychologist, like a treating psychologist. Um, so yeah, the fact that he talked about people with addiction problems in such a callous way, sort of they should just get over it, and then got himself addicted to benzos is just like the hypocrisy of that man is incredible, like absolutely incredible. It's pretty sophisticated. Marble's pretty sophisticated. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I remember playing that marbles as a kid. Basically, yeah, it you had the metal ones, which are really cool. Um, you had the specs with speckled ones. God, that's taking me back. That's taking me back to my younger days. Rembrandt says, "Yeah, hooligan. No, his license was suspended. Yeah, his license. Yep, yep." Rembrandt says her cousin is a biatch, but 18-year-olds shouldn't claim professionals bought their degrees. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. It is hard though in the middle of a fight to actually, sort of not lash out. I get that, especially when she's being so condescending. Spicy Hummus says lots of psychologists think they can literally read minds. It's why people usually clown on people with that degree. Now, some do, yeah. No, I agree, Spicy Hummus. I've run into a few really terrible psychologists and therapists, but I've run into some incredible ones as well. Like absolutely insanely good psychologists. Yeah, like just some incredible ones, and they don't think they can literally. Usually, the psychologists that are incredible are the ones that will ask you questions. They ask questions rather than tell you what is going on, and the question will lead you down to a conclusion that they're probably angling at, but they're not going to say, "Hey, you should think this way." Yeah, it kind of is incredible. But yeah, I mean, you're right. There's certainly them out there. I've met some horrible, horrible, horrible therapists. I was seeing one guy after both my parents died in a very short amount of time, like within a month or a couple of months of one another. My mother of breast cancer and my father of a heart condition. He just didn't wake up one night, kind of thing. So I saw a therapist after that because that was a lot all at once. And you know, I was sort of talking how okay, let's go deep into it. Basically, my mother wanted me to quit my job in the corporate world because I hated it. I absolutely hated it. and do something that I loved, do something else, basically. And as I was talking to him, this therapist, and I'd been to him a couple of times, explained what had happened, explained how I was feeling, and it was almost like he was falling asleep. This young guy, he just had no interest whatsoever. And, sort of saying, hey, I don't, I'm very good at my job, but, what am I really doing there? I like to help people. And, my job did give me an opportunity to help people. But, what I didn't like about it is that I was forced to also help the company when they shouldn't be helped, if you get what I mean. Like, stand up for the company, apologize for it, really make it out to be something it wasn't. And he said, well, I'm sure your parents are proud of you. And I'm like, this guy did not listen to a frigging word. Seriously, seriously. Like, the first thing he says after I said, that I'm frustrated with my job was, oh, your parents, I'm sure they're proud of you. And it's like, holy crap, really? Really? What gives you that idea? Yeah, so that was the worst psychologist experience that I've ever had. Oh, thank you, Spicy. No, it's fine. It happened a long while ago. Well, yeah, a fair while ago. A fair while ago. But yeah, it was a shock at the time. It was something that if so, I was kind of devastated from my mum, and then my dad came along, and two totally separations. I was really spiraling, kind of thing. So you go and you get professional help, and that's the good thing to do. But just because you don't find somebody, first off, just look for somebody else. There's some fantastic people out there who really, really get your head around it. But thank you. I appreciate it. It's a hell of a lot in a short time. Yeah. I needed help. I needed professional help at that point because I was really spiraling into a sort of just hate spiral. If you hate it, you should do something else. Yeah, I just so it's kind of weird because I really liked helping people. I really liked I love tech support. When somebody rings, they've got 5 problems and you sort all of them out, and they're like, holy crap, all of these problems are sorted out for me. My day has just gotten that much better. It's a good feeling, right? It's a really good feeling to know that, hey, you've made somebody's life so much easier when they call you, kind of thing. And then it was more getting towards sales. They were pushing sales on us, and we were supposed to make sales off of it. And I'm great at sales. I hate doing it, right? I'm really good at selling people things. I absolutely hate doing it. I really do. I hate it. It is. I would rather fix something than replace it. I really would. So, yeah, I started to hate it. So, yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, Aragon, and good to see you, mate. Yeah, give you more prescriptions. Well, I don't think that's true of everybody. I think that sort of stabilizing people is what they try to do. And but the ones that sort of want to work on how to overcome it rather than just prescribe something are the ones that you're looking for. I get what you're saying, though. Where was I up to? Was I looking through the comments? Oh, yeah. I'm going through what you guys said. That's right. That's right. I get you. I don't care if it's real, it's a situation. Yeah, that's true, Phantom. I agree. It's kind of like the trolley problem. Yeah, the trolley problems are never real, but yeah, they give you an idea. He doesn't practice it. Jordan Peterson. Yeah, I mean, he really just does. I mean, he was on YouTube talking about all the traits of Trump make him trustworthy and honest and stuff. It was like it was hard not to retch, quite frankly. He uses too many words. I think his license practice revoked. JP uses too many words to explain simple things, and he is a hypocrite. A little bit, yeah. And I think that he doesn't have a working understanding of stuff, but the way that he avoids questions, and we saw this when he was talking with Richard Dawkins and Alex O'Connor, he just avoids talking about things by going to minutia, like what does this word mean, what does that word mean, and it's just sort of like, yeah, I think you know how we're using it. Oh yeah, some of them are awesome. Yeah, some of them are awesome. Yeah, if you hate it, you should do something else. Yeah, and that's the thing, like, people don't get to the end of their lives and go, yeah, I wish I worked more in that job that I hated. It isn't what happened. People are usually, life's too short to work in somewhere that you hate. Absolutely. I get you. You had a psychiatrist that didn't remember a word from the first session, didn't take any notes, and all. Yeah, that's a red flag for me. And that guy basically not remembering the reason I was there was a big red flag for me. And don't be afraid to say, hey, you're not the right fit for me. I will go somewhere else. Don't be afraid to do that. I was a bad kid around psychologists most of my childhood. Best part, they said everyone else was wrong. Okay. I'm not sure if psychologists really are that black and white, but yeah. Your mum sounded great. That's awesome. She wanted you to do it. Makes you happy. The few I have, they really helped me with many different problems in life. Yeah, yeah. I think, look, my mum was a interesting person, very, very interesting and contentious, and we got along fantastically as long as we didn't live together. Could not live together. No way. No way. Okay, what does the poll say? Poll says the poster is the innocent party. I am inclined to agree, yes. I think sort of psychologists, if you're a psychologist or have a psychology degree, don't psychoanalyze, don't apply what you know to your family. It is a futile effort and really, really freaking annoying. Trust me, I know it is annoying. I really know. Yeah, spicy. It's because he can't alienate that sort of, Christian contingent from his viewer base, but he's not a Christian. And I think that's become evident to just about everybody, kind of thing. So, you know, it's really weird. It's very, very weird. Next one is from Autumn Renee. I am feeling a little bit tired. I'll do this one and then see how I feel. I can't promise I'll go on. As I said, I had a bit of a big day yesterday getting all kind of battery of tests, but it's great in Australia. We don't have to pay for it. I just want to reiterate that. Look, my American friends, there are places in the world, and you can have it too, where you go in to get ultrasounds on problems and it doesn't cost you anything because the government wants to support the people. Like these places exist throughout the world, and demand that you have it too. Healthcare for all. It should be a right, not a privilege for the rich. Okay, next one from Autumn Renee. Am I the arsehole for telling my best friend I don't want to be in her wedding because I can't afford it? No, no. Like you can't afford it, you can't afford it. I mean, what are you supposed to do? Do a crowd fund for a wedding? I'm not sure that will go down too well, to be honest with you. Um, it sucks. It sucks. Being lower socioeconomic status sucks. I've been there. Haven't been to afford shit. I cannot fault you for it. What you should have a better life. What are they asking you to do here? Okay. My best friend of many years is getting married, and she recently asked me to be a bridesmaid. I was thrilled at first, but after she shared the details, my excitement turned to anxiety. Yeah, and I understand that, like, being a bridesmaid can be freaking expensive. I don't know, for groomsmen, you just have to hire a suit, and it doesn't, you don't have to match or anything. It's just, you hire a suit with the same colors as the others and no one cares. The bridesmaid, they've got to have exactly the same dress and stuff. It's wild. I don't understand why we're doing this to women. It's crazy. The dresses she picked out are expensive. The bachelorette party is a destination weekend. Oh, damn. Yeah, okay, that's going to be expensive. And there are other costs like hair, makeup, and gift. I did the math. It's way out of my budget. I told her that while I'm honored, she asked I can't afford to be in the wedding. I offered to support her in other ways, like helping with planning or attending her bridal shower, but she was upset. She said she thought being her bridesmaid was non-negotiable because we're so close, and she didn't think it was fair for me to back out over money. She also implied that I could make it work if I really tried and suggested I use my savings or pick up extra work to cover the cost. Are you serious right now? I'm getting married. Am I poor? Am I a poor person? Because I really just go, no, totally understandable. Totally understandable. Bleh. Now I feel like I've let her down and maybe overreacted by saying no so quickly. I know how important this day is to her, but I also can't justify putting myself into debt or draining my savings for it. She's been distant since our conversation. I'm worried I've damaged our friendship. Am I the arsehole? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. I don't think so. Now, if you expected her to be in your bridal party afterwards, then yeah, there might be a problem there. But I don't know. Maybe I'm just from a lower socioeconomic status, but there's been times in my life I've barely able to afford rent, much less, a dress and destination wedding. Right, to be bridesmaid. So sometimes I'm talking about rescuing. I mean, this doesn't even count as rescuing, like sort of making yourself inconveniencing and working to the detriment of yourself in order to help other people. And it's always a bad idea. There's a difference between supporting people and rescuing them. Like if somebody's gotten into trouble, supporting them's good. But when you're actually making your own life terrible or at least significantly detrimenting your own life in order to help them, it's a bad idea. It never turns out well. It always turns into resentment. It always plus there's just the detriment to your life. If your life is absolutely stuffed, you can't help anybody. So I totally agree with supporting people. Rescuing them is bad. And this isn't even rescuing. This is her wanting to sacrifice her financial stability and her life in order to give her something she just wants and doesn't need. No, I would, if I was having a wedding and my best man, my best mate said, yeah, I can't make it work financially, I'd be like, totally understand. I totally understand. It really does to me sound like privilege that she can afford a destination weekend and the wedding dress and all of this stuff. That's really hard for some people to afford. Not the arsehole. You shouldn't go into debt for your own wedding, much less someone else's. Yeah, I'm kind of inclined to agree. Your friend is demanding that you be financially irresponsible, and that's not fair. When I got married, I knew my best friend wouldn't be able to afford to come, so I had included the cost of her flying her out and putting her up in a hotel in our wedding planning. It turned out that her health was too poor to come. Massive infection required major surgery with a very long recovery. So I didn't actually end up doing so, but that's how I intend to deal with her not being able to afford to come. Yes, if you think that the finance is no problem, then you pay for it. And if you want them to come, then you pay for it. Otherwise, Not the asshole. No, she is the one that just damaged the relationship. Her image of a perfect wedding is more important to her than your friendship or your financial stability. She is more than willing for you to work extra, drain your savings, and go into debt so she can have a perfect day. That is what's known as being selfish. Her manipulating you raises that to toxic levels. Yeah, I kind of agree. That is manipulative. She's using guilt to get you to do something that you don't want to do. You know, I would never say to my mate, look, you could work to make it up and you're being a bad friend. And yeah, that is manipulative. Fair to back out over money. Look, I mean, money isn't the most important thing in the world, but like it is really important that your finances are stable. Like, and she's got savings that she's saving for something. Look, I don't know where this is. Maybe it isn't America. Let me see. Let's see if I can get the get a clue on the spelling. Is there anything in here that would be Americanized? Not really. Yeah, yeah, did nothing wrong. No, there's no words I can pick out. But anyway, in America, if you don't have savings and you get sick or, you know, get a really bad illness, as I was talking about earlier, people go into medical bankruptcy. They literally have no, you know, this isn't a case where, hey, you know, somebody needs something really badly, like, you know, their car's broken or something. This is just a wedding. You could get wedding in a register. Like, the whole idea that you should expect your friend to complete your perfect wedding is horrible, absolutely horrible. Not the arsehole. Only entitled people expect you to spend thousands of dollars on their event and expect you to do savings and do overtime at work to cover the cost of the highly expensive selections they've made for their wedding. Yeah, especially, and the thing that stands out to me is the weekend destination. Um, hen's night or whatever. Like, what was it? A bachelorette or something? Yeah, the bachelorette party is a destination weekend. I mean, what the hell? I, bleh. That is really expensive. Maybe that's because I live in Australia and sort of, you know, everywhere, going anywhere for a destination is expensive from here, but still, holy crap. I can tell you from experience that the bride is the one that covers the bridesmaids' dresses and makeup, and that only the bachelor party is something that all the participants should cover. Oh, I didn't know that. I don't know. Maybe they do it differently in different places. Yeah. A very long-time friend asked me if I would be a best man for her last year, and I straight up said, bridesmaid, best man, bridesmaid. And I said, I'd be honored, but I'm not able to spend more than X amount. I totally understand if that means you need to rescind the invite. She was very understanding and talked me through the expected costs. Luckily, it was all very manageable and I could participate. I think you did what you should have done. I looked through your budget and realized it wasn't possible for you. Communicate that early on and offer to do what was in your means, not the arsehole. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, it sounds like, did she recently asked you to be bridesmaid? Um, yeah, so at least she asked, I guess. So maybe she said yes at first and then said, no, it's out of my budget. That happens. Like, wow, I would never ghost somebody for that kind of thing. I would never ghost somebody for that. Okay, okay. What you got to say out there, chat? Um, BS, get a fourth job. It's your best friend's wedding. Yeah, seems ridiculous, doesn't it? Um, Okay, so best man is a stressful position. Been roped in that twice. Never again. Yeah, it depends on who it is. Probing time, like really. For my wedding was so simple. Like it was so not a huge wedding. It was just people getting together at a botanic park. Like it really was more a picnic than a wedding, to be honest with you. And I loved it. And my best man, really, he was just there to sign the marriage certificate, be the witness on the marriage certificate and stand beside me. That's it. Like, he didn't even have to keep track of the ring or anything. That was just, yeah, I just took that, like we're not much for tradition here, to be honest with you. It's just like, you know, what if you want me there that bad and I can't afford it, that person should kick in to help. Yeah, you'd think so. You'd think so. Spicy Hummer says, holy cow, I couldn't afford to be a bridesmaid. That friend who is getting married is being delusional. Not everyone can just afford to do things like that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I hear you. I would be hard pressed to be able to fit that into my budget as well, quite frankly. Spicy Hammer said, I think if you want fancy marriage and you have close friends that you want to play important roles, you should be able to help them with finances. Yeah, absolutely. But it depends on the problem comes that different people have different ideas of what constitutes a fancy marriage, to be honest with you. Like they may be in the thing of saying, oh, well, this is a very simple marriage. And to the other person, it's like, what are you talking about? That is so much stuff. Yeah, I've seen people describe a simple marriage and it's been what I would call pretty damn fancy, quite frankly. So, I guess that might be perspective, but still, if they can't afford it, they can't afford it. That's it. That's the end of the discussion. Andrew's saying, I'm just saying that they want me there that bad and doing it would hurt me, then it's a no. Yeah, I would agree. It's their wedding, so if they want for their wedding, they should facilitate the way for me to be there. Yeah, I totally agree. And if they think it's that, easy to afford, then they can chip in for you as well. I agree. And if I got to, then that's the gift they're getting, my presents. Okay, Andrew. I'm not sure how much that's worth. Maybe it's worth more than I consider, but yeah. Hey, I'm thankful for your presents. I'm probably not going to pay for it, Andrew. I got to be honest, mate. Spot on, Mark. It's a privilege. If my best mate couldn't afford it and I couldn't afford to help, I wouldn't be mad they couldn't attend. Absolutely, Spicy Hummus. I'm right there with you. It's just, you got to live in reality at some point. Not everybody can afford everything. Hell, if I was going away for a weekend and the best mate said they were coming, and then they said, hey, I can't actually afford it. I'd be like, well, don't cut. Like, seriously, I don't want you to spend stuff that's not within your budget. It feels like the person getting married has never been poor and has never known what it's like not to be able, like to worry about paying for your home or paying the mortgage or paying the rent. I'm wondering if and I'm not saying this is the case, but I'm wondering if they've gone from their parents to marriage and never had to struggle at all. It's rough out there if you're not financially stable. It is rough. So I would rather my best mate save his money and be in a better position than come to my wedding, quite frankly. I would rather that, because one of those things is going to, maybe he can put down a deposit on a home. Maybe he can, afford to fix something in his house. Maybe, I would rather they have the money for that than go to my stupid wedding. I mean, it's not stupid. It's just, what's more important? Your best mate being at your wedding, or the best mate being afford to repair his air conditioning if it goes down? Think about that. What is more important to you? I know what's more important to me. We all don't get a lick at the silver spoon, lol, which is mostly the fault of the greed of the rich. Yeah, capitalism sucks. It's not a good system. It needs to be overhauled at least. At least. I think it can work. I think that it can work, but in some way you've got to stop capital from having an influence on the political system, because capital having influence on the political system will always tip the scales towards capitalism. It always will. It's a problem. And I think we're all realizing that. The offer to help, Aunt Jer says the offer to help with planning is a good one. Yeah, I agree. Planning a wedding is stressful, and if your friend is offering to help, you should let them help in whatever way they can. Yeah, don't be afraid to accept help. And that's sort of one thing they can do that's not a monetary thing that, is worth a lot. I mean, how much do wedding planners actually cost to hire? They cost a bundle. It'll take some of the weight off your shoulders. Absolutely. Andrew says, right, they showed they do care and want to, just can't, so they're offering to be there in another way. Yeah, I agree, Andrew. And, that person sounds like an awesome person. They can't afford it. They're offering to help however they can. It's really sweet of them. I find it sweet of them, Like, they don't have to do that. Aunt just says, no, bridesmaid purchase their own dresses and do their own hair and makeup. Having your hair and makeup done by a professional is a privilege. Okay. Darren Delaney says, will the cost be refunded if the marriage fails within 5 years? I don't think so. I don't think legally there's any way you can do that. And that's the thing. Like, it's kind of, what's the cutoff for returning wedding gifts? If the marriage fails, like a week, if it fails in a week, if it fails in a year, like what's the cutoff there? I want to know. Aunt Jer says you're also expected to provide a gift for the engagement, the bridal shower, and the wedding. Yeah. Darren Delaney says, I wonder if the dude knows how his future wife treats her friends. Well, that's assuming that he's not the same, That's assuming he's not the same. Warranty? Oh, is that when you return the gifts when the warranty is up? So they can't take it back on warranty. Okay. When the return policy has expired, yeah, that's a little mean, but sure, I'll pay it. I'll pay it. Right, it's not a system for running society. It's fine to build up base and get started, but left unchecked causes problems. Democratic socialism. I would disagree. I'm slightly in the socialist democracy camp, which is slightly different. So I think that democratic socialism is just a step too far, quite frankly. But hey, that's my opinion. I'm not that huge on politics. I just have opinions. So, yeah. Okay. I'll do one more. What was the poll came out at? Innocent party. Yeah, everyone's sort of done nothing wrong this round. Like, the last couple of weeks it's been all Thanksgiving and everybody was awful, quite frankly. Everybody was terrible. This one has sort of been more, nobody's really doing anything wrong. It's the arseholes on the other end. But I'll do one more just because I love you all so much and you deserve it. Okay, so Rico Suave 1112 says, am I the arsehole for leaving a barbecue after 6+ hours of socializing and providing the food? Absolutely not. Look, as speaking somebody on the spectrum and having massive social anxiety upon occasion, I think that you're going to be lucky for me to stay for a couple of hours. I would be exhausted after a couple of hours, quite frankly. And that's not about the people. This is the thing. People that have social anxiety and social problems, people are always like, oh, why don't you like us? What's the problem with us? Why are you It's not about you. It's not about you. That's the thing. A lot of the time when I miss social cues a lot, but throughout my life, I've been able to analyze people and really analyze them, picking up on these cues. I've gotten a lot better as I've grown up. For those that argue I am a grown up, which is definitely debatable. But I've gotten better at analyzing people and registering what they're talking about from what they're doing. But when I'm tired and stuff, I have a lot of problems doing so. So socializing may exhaust the crap out of me. Like, I might be totally exhausted. and people are like, well, what, our company isn't good enough? It's not about you. It's got nothing to do with you. Nothing. You know, you're great. You're fantastic. It's me. I'm the problem here. It's me. I'm the problem. I'm quoting Taylor Swift. See what you've done? See what you've done, chat? It's not your fault. It's really just you know, I am exhausted by socializing sometimes. Accept it. It's locked. It's been removed by the moderators. We have the oft-spoken little seen forbidden post. Oh my. The post too contentious. Why do they take it off here then? I'm gonna hide you. Get away. Jeez. The forbidden post. Okay. Just Michelle then. This one better not be blocked as well. Am I the arsehole for expecting an apology when my in-laws are chronically late? No. And that actually drives me insane. My wife's family often arrive late or don't give a heads up that they're going to be late or just rock up. And it is very rude. And they don't seem to think anything of it until somebody else does it. And then they're very, very vocal about it. So I think it's very, very, very rude. And to be honest with you, it's not both of them. It's just one of them. But it is very rude to me. I don't mind if you're a bit late. I don't mind if you're a little bit late. You know, you're sitting at a restaurant for a couple of minutes or 20 minutes. Who cares? You know, like, that's fine. You're there. You're drinking water. But I don't know. It just seems very horrible. So I would say, no, you're not. I think that sort of, well, I would expect, and here's the thing. Apologies are useless if they're not indicative of behavior going forward. Okay, so if someone is always late and they apologize for it, it doesn't matter if their behavior doesn't change. Now, if you can live with that, fine. If you can't, then you may have to change something. So the important part is not the apology. The apology is just a statement of contrition, a statement saying, hey, I will do something differently the next time. I don't like what I have done. I will change that. That's what an apology is. So it's not so much the apology, it's more the acknowledgement that they understand that they've done something wrong. They have wronged you. That's the main part. So I don't expect an apology, but if you do something wrong, I expect that you will A, do something to change it, or B, I'm not going to be interacting with you anymore. If you, for instance, tell me that there's something on and I go and it's not on and you didn't bother to notify me, I may not say anything. I just won't go to your functions again. I just won't bother because I guess I can bring it up if it becomes an issue. It's not an issue for me. I'm just not going. That's fine. Yeah. So I don't think it's wrong to expect an apology, but I think I think you should expect a change in behavior. That's what I'm saying. I think you should expect for something to change. I have been married to my husband for 15 years. In that time, I've taken over preparing holidays for his family and our small family. His parents always show up late to every holiday, not 10 or even 20 minutes late, but an hour to 2 hours late. Yeah, that's wrong. That is bad. My husband and I have discussed it, that I feel it's rude and inconsiderate, but he refuses to speak to them about it, instead telling me that I should just go, no, speak to them about it. Come on now. Yeah, this is the stuff. Like they probably keep on doing it because you haven't expressed to them that it upsets them. We had decided together that they would not bring any significant part of the meal as they were always late. But that's not the problem. The problem isn't that they're not bringing any significant part of the meal. The problem is that you're sitting there waiting to start the meal on them arriving. Right? Like, you're delaying the food in order to wait for these people. So you need to bring that up and say, hey, it's not cool that you're so late. It's not cool. But, some people cannot have that conversation. I'm not sure why. We had decided, yeah, always late. This year was no different. My husband forgot that we had made that deal. So his mother was bringing mashed potatoes. He refused and acted insulted when I tried to purchase potatoes. In typical fashion, his parents showed up 1 hour late. Wow, that is rude. Which meant we had to wait for them to eat. Yep, and the food I spent all day preparing sat there for an hour. Yeah, and it gets cold or hot or whatever. What the hell? They offered no apology and just became demanding at once, wanting things cut and requiring I fetch things for them. During the meal, they thanked my husband for preparing everything, which he explained that I did it all. And then they said, well, it's a joint effort. Am I the arsehole for thinking this family owes me an apology? Oh, hell no. That is so rude. Oh my God. If my wife prepares a meal and someone says, oh, thank you for preparing the meal, I'm going to say, hey, it was all my wife. There's no way I would take any credit for something I had nothing to do with. Holy crap. And she would do the same for me. Like if I, spent ages preparing something, she wouldn't take credit for my things. That's terrible. Over an hour late, I'd be so mad. Like seriously, I would be so mad if I get hangry, okay? I get hungry and then I get angry and then I'm hangry. I would be like, no, it might be time to say sort of no, if like you cannot arrive that late, we are going to start eating without you. Right? We are going to eat at this time. It is up to you to get. Why are you talking to your parent? Like this is how you would talk to a child, right? Or an 18-year-old. This is crazy. Like, if the meal is set for 12 o'clock, that is when the rest of the family will be eating. Whether or not you're there and you get whatever's left. If you don't want that to happen, you show up on time. It might be that time to lay down that law. Like you can show up late, but the rest of the family is not going to wait for you. That is probably what I would do. That is what I'd probably want to do. Like just say that's the time that it starts. No exceptions. None for you. And none for anybody else. As long as you can hold to that. That is probably what I would do. And just, if nothing's left by the time they get there, they can eat their mashed potatoes and not come if they feel put out. But, the whole thing is you want to avoid ultimatums saying, oh, if you don't show up, we're just going to, do this. But instead say, hey, this is what I want to happen or what has to happen in order for you to maintain those boundaries and have those reasonable expectations of others' behavior. That is what will happen. And they can get on board or not as they choose. They have autonomy to either do what is necessary. So what you're essentially doing is you're saying, hey, this is how I want it to be, right? You want to start the meal at this time. You don't have control over your parents. You can't make them show up on time, right? You can't make them. So all you can do is what you do. But what you can do is say, this is when the meal starts and start the meal. It's not an ultimatum because you're not saying, or else I will do this. But they've been advised that's when the meal will start and start it. And then they have the opportunity to do the right thing or continue to do the wrong thing. And if they go off, don't buy into it. Don't get into an argument with these people. Just say, hey, that's when the meal was starting. If you are upset, there's a very simple way to fix it. But you don't have to say that. You can just say, look, that's when the meal starts. That's it. Regardless of what you do or how you try to make everything about you or what you try to centralize around yourself. No, it's about the meal starting. That is when it starts. That's it. That's it. Anyway, I'll get the poll up. That's my thoughts anyway, but I'd love to know yours. I really would. Geez, though, I mean, 1 to 2 hours, I would be foaming at the mouth, quite frankly. The poster right to expect an apology. But see, that's the thing. Like at the moment, and I want to sort of jump on board that, like just sort of use that as a launching pad for what I'm going to say. At the moment, the post is expecting them to do something, right? They're saying, hey, their behavior should be X, which if there's anything I've learned over the years is that you cannot make that happen. Like just expecting an apology isn't something you can do. All you can do is maintain your own behavior and your own boundaries. And it's really hard because you would think that, hey, they should apologize. And I do agree with them. They ought to apologize because they definitely have wronged you. But I think that just doing things to maintain your boundaries and not sort of trying to get it out of them is probably going to be more productive in the long run. Okay, what the Redditors got to say. Do not expect an apology. I serve the food at the time I specify, and latecomers can reheat theirs when they arrive. That said, since you have held the meal all this time, it is fair to give them a heads up that you have a new policy. Yes. Oh, I really like this person. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe this means you eat alone for the first year. Everyone comes to my house on time. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. When that stuff starts to happen, they'll all come on time. After 15 years, you can't talk to your in-laws about this. They're assholes. Your husband is a wimp. Wow. Okay, Reddit. Sure. And you're not an asshole for having this issue, but you are sucking if you're letting it go on and just bitch and moan, don't change anything. You need to change what you are going to do if you want to be any different. Yeah, I don't know about that. Like some, in-laws can be complicated. Some people have a difficult relationship with their parents. Some people have communication problems with their parents. Ideally you want everybody to do it, but it kind of sucks that they're thanking the husband for all of his work. I'm going with everyone sucks here. Your in-laws are rude and entitled. Your husband has no spine, but neither do you. How do you accept that behavior for these 15 years? Well, okay, be harsh. Wow, okay. Everyone sucks here. The in-laws do what they always did, which sucks, but it's insincere to be surprised, offended after 15 years. Why did you wait to eat? You know they were going to be very late. It's like you wanted an excuse to get mad again about an issue that is not new. You can't control other people, only your reaction. Yeah, well, sometimes you can't really control your reaction either. All you can do is your actions is your reaction. Yeah, I get so. But sometimes you can't control your emotional reaction. You can only control what you do off the back of it. I get what they're saying though. Set some very simple boundaries. Mealtime is mealtime, and let go of any expectations of change because they obviously don't care and you can't make them care. Your husband is certainly welcome to wait to eat if he wants, I guess. Yeah, that's true. Your husband can wait. Look, the in-laws get no gold stars from me. Your husband certainly doesn't. But why on earth does the party start the exact minute dinner starts, especially when you know the in-laws are going to show up late? Well, if it's a dinner party, that's generally what happens. I'm not sure that's a valid criticism. They're not going to change, so either you do or just accept it, or you can keep whining about it every year. I'd suggest starting the party an hour or two before dinner with appetizers, cocktail games. They haven't showed up by dinner time. Go ahead anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I sometimes the gathering is to eat. Like it sort of centers around dinner or lunch or whatever. You actually go and you generally just eat. I'm not sure if it's the kind of party that you're talking about, buddy. Every holiday. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Not the arsehole, but I think a bigger problem you have than in-laws problem is the husband problem. It's good that he at least had the basic decency to give you credit for the meal, but here's a massive part of why the in-law problem still exists. He's enabling them and dismissing your concerns, not to mention seems perfectly fine with your hard work being wasted by their inconsideration. You shouldn't be okay with the disrespect they are showing to you. Their insistence on not recognizing or acknowledging that your efforts is also a piece of the puzzle. They don't respect you. They don't seem to have that much respect for him, but since he goes along, they act slightly more favorable to him. To me, he's just being spineless. Well, that's harsh, but sure. I would tell him that you won't be hosting holiday gatherings for his family any longer until he actually agrees to take action to get them to approve and then hold your ground. I see no reason why this should be your job, and they can't do ban him in a shop and express gratitude. He's refused to accept any criticism of them, being offended when you consider buying backup potatoes, anticipating they'll be late, is a sign of where his loyalties fall, which is disappointing for your marriage. Yeah, I'm not sure I'd read too much into that, but sure, Reddit, I get you. I get you. I get you. Yeah, it's kind of upsetting that the guy can't stand up to his family, but, you know, I don't think you need him to. I think you can just, you know, as long as he just says, hey, we start when we start and just supports you on that, it's fine. It's totally fine. That was the previous one. Spicy Hummer says 6 hours. Man, I'd be dead tired from overthinking for 1 to 2 hours. I couldn't do that personally. I have to say, not the arsehole. Some people leave early. Yeah, absolutely. Can't mod with the barbecue. Yeah, it's a shame the barbecue one was taken down. I'm not sure why. I don't know. We're all going over to Andrews to smoke a bowl. It's actually still illegal here because Australia, while progressive, is absolutely primitive in some respects. It's really weird. Really, really weird. You know, stuff like computer game censorship and movie censorship and marijuana and stuff. It's weird over in Australia. It's progressive, except in a number of tiny little areas, kind of thing. It's wild. I don't understand expecting your party to confront parents over issues. I mean, at first, yeah, but if they don't do it, just talk to them yourself. You have a mouth, use your words. Yeah, I kind of agree, aren't you? You know, just because your partner is intimidated by the parents doesn't mean you have to be. I get that. I get that. You get hangry too? Yeah. We all get hangry, Sterling Nash. I think anyone that says they don't get hangry is a liar. They're a liar. Left Hand Jedi says that is disrespectful as hell. Yeah, kind of. I would be very upset, quite frankly. I would be very upset. Andrew Christopherson says that's why I learned to trick the people, and that's why I learned the trick to tell people like that to arrive an hour before the actual time, then their lateness becomes on time. You got to outthink the Foz sometimes. Yeah, the Fox sometimes. Yeah, I see your correction. The problem with that, Andrew, is like you start telling them that, right? So you tell them to arrive at this time. They then become later and later and later because they know that the dinner isn't going to start at the time you say it is. So it becomes later, and like, you know, it becomes a bit weird that they sort of then delay it further because they want to arrive, you know, sort of thing. I get what you mean, and it works for a while, but they become hip to it. So yeah. Clever, yeah, at first, but they will get later and later and later, you know, until they're back at their usual stuff, in my experience. I agree there should be consequences to actions. Yeah, but it's just important that you're not using an ultimatum to force people into that position, because all it will do is breed resentment in the long run. You want to just say, hey, this is the way it is, and I'm, you know, sorry you feel like that, but that is the way that it is. It's, you know, and then let them choose to change their own behavior on their own accord or not, and have that consequence in place. You know, threatening people with consequences is usually just breeds resentment, because even if they do it, they're just going to resent you for it. It's better to have the consequences as the consequences and let them discover it on their own. Because then if they choose to change, their behavior, it's coming from them. They've chosen it. And there's less blame and resentment attributed to you that way. Lol, I can't handle being high. It doesn't slow me down. I think my ADHD helps me. Yeah, fair enough. Darren Delaney could be seen as a bit passive-aggressive by the parents to control the timing. Yeah, possibly. I mean, who knows? They might just be hella unorganized. But yeah, it kind of sounds that way, being so consistently late. It does sound a little bit like that, Darren. I have to agree. Andrew Christopherson, lol at left-handed Jedi. Luckily, I'm not an evil person, or this mind would be dangerous as fuck. Yeah, I know the feeling. You know, I think that if I was an evil person, I would be a supervillain of some sort. Quite frankly. Yeah, Andrew says, "Lol, jab at the husband that he pissed in the Reddit uses cornflakes." Look, it's very easy. In my experience, to piss in the Reddit users cornflakes. Like, you know, just saying slightly the wrong thing appears to be the worst thing ever. The worst thing ever. A game of chess. I used to play chess. Haven't played for quite some time. For me, it's a respect thing. If you don't show up, we eat without you. Absolutely. And that's how it runs in my family. If you don't show up on time, we'll start without you. The plate's right there. You can reheat it. Go for it. But we're a lot more cash than this sounds like. We're very, very casual. So, you know, if my brother is eating at a certain time, that's when he's eating. If I'm eating, that's when I'm eating. You know, like we don't hold for each other. That's not, you know, we'll tell each other the time. That's the time when we start. That's it. You know, not that's it. I don't get it. It's really, it would be really weird for me to expect you to not eat waiting on me who is late. You know what I mean? Like if I'm late, well, for a start, I'd call you and say, "Hey, I'm running late." And then the next thing I'd say is, "Start without me. I can reheat, you know, my food. No, go ahead, start without me. We will be there. Sorry, I'm late." Is that hard? I don't see that as that hard. I don't see that as that hard. Anyway, what have the people got to say? Yeah, another innocent party. Yeah, this one's actually been quite refreshing that nobody's like, you know, gone onto Reddit and gone, "Am I the asshole for stealing my brother's car and driving it around the city?" kind of thing. You know, it's kind of weird what gets, you know, what gets up there. Like, am I the asshole for, you know, throwing dirt at my sister after she did this? And it's like, yeah, you really are. Yeah, you absolutely. Yeah, but that's the last one because I can feel my voice getting kind of raspy. I don't know if you can hear it, but it definitely is feeling that way. I do have a little bit of stuff coming up. I do have my fundamentalist fails on Friday, as per usual. I am going to be doing a casual stream. I'm just going to rope a couple of friends into it because I got a whole bunch of super chats in the debate. So I'll announce that soon. I'll put it on my community post. So just follow the community post if you do want notification. It's probably going to be a smash or pass thing. So just some casual fun because I got a lot of super chats and I promised if I got like 10, I think it was, that I'd do a casual stream. I didn't get 10 in 2 hours, but I got more than 10 over the entire thing. I didn't know that debate would go for like 4 freaking hours. That was a long, tough debate. That was, you know, the 4 hours, that's too long for a debate, or quite frankly, especially against Nathan Thompson. My God, that man is just such an ass. So yeah, but thank you so much for joining me. This has been awesome. It's good to see that people are out there that aren't, you know, absolutely terrible and unaware of it. I think most of the people there were just fine, just absolutely fine. And, you know, you guys agree with me. So yeah, it's all good. But thank you so much. Really good to see you all. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps me out a lot. And I really appreciate it. So thank you, everybody. Yeah, well, I'll run my thing, but don't forget to be kind to each other. Be kind to yourself. You know, if you can't afford stuff, if doing something is detrimental to yourself, you know, definitely be kind to yourself. Don't put yourself through crap in order to service somebody else's expectations. Number one, it's bad for your own life. Number two, you will end up resenting that person, and that's not good either. So yeah, definitely be kind to yourself. You definitely deserve it. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye. I don't know why that's not working. This is the